Let me tell you something most people will never understand. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest, the one explaining himself, the one desperate to be seen. They think control comes from speaking more, from dominating conversations, from forcing presence. But real control is when you walk into a room and nothing changes, yet everything shifts. No announcement, no performance, no effort, just awareness. And suddenly, people become careful. That is power. And today, I'll show you how to control the room without saying a word. There are 11 calculated principles behind silent dominance. Miss one, and the illusion breaks. Master all 11, and you won't need to speak to command respect. I'll break them down, step by step. Pay attention. The illusion of loud power. Most people misunderstand dominance. They think it's volume. They think it's charisma. They think it's being the center of attention. I used to observe this carefully. In classrooms, in meetings, in social groups. There was always someone trying too hard, talking too much, laughing too loudly, overreacting, over-explaining. They thought they were leading, but they were reacting. And the person reacting is never in control. Control belongs to the one who chooses when to respond. Silence is not absence. Silence is selection. When you stop speaking unnecessarily, something interesting happens. People begin to project onto you. They wonder what you're thinking. They question your opinion. They become aware of themselves. And that awareness shifts the balance. Silence is strategic advantage. People assume control comes from intelligence. It doesn't. I'm not the most talented person in any room. I'm not the most charismatic. I'm not the most expressive. But I understand something most people ignore. People reveal themselves when they're uncomfortable with silence. I don't rush to fill gaps. When someone makes a statement, I look at them. Not aggressively, not emotionally, just steadily. Do you know what happens? They start explaining more than necessary. They defend points I never challenged. They expose insecurities I never touched. Silence pressures people, and most cannot handle pressure. So they leak information. The one who leaks loses control. Emotional neutrality is power. When you enter a room, your face speaks before you do. Most people carry their emotions openly. Excitement, insecurity, ego, fear. It's readable, predictable, manipulatable. I learned to neutralize my reactions. Not because I lack emotion, but because I refuse to let emotions broadcast my position. If someone insults me and I react, they gain data. If someone praises me and I glow, they gain leverage. If someone provokes me and I flare up, they gain control. So I don't react. Not immediately. I observe. When people can't read you, they hesitate. And hesitation shifts power. Stillness commands hidden respect. Most people move too much. They adjust constantly, check their phones, shift their weight, fidget, overnod. Movement signals uncertainty. Stillness signals certainty. When I stand fully. When I sit grounded. When I look at someone, I don't glance away quickly, not to intimidate, just to remain present. Presence makes people aware. Awareness makes them cautious. You don't need to stare aggressively. You simply don't retreat. The first person to break eye contact often feels exposed, and subtle psychological victories build silent authority. Speak less, mean more. When you talk too much, your words lose weight. When you speak rarely, each sentence gains gravity. I don't interrupt. I let others finish. I let them over-explain. Then I respond with one precise sentence. Not emotional, not dramatic, just accurate. Accuracy is dangerous, because truth, delivered calmly, cannot be attacked easily. When your words are measured, people listen more carefully. And when they listen carefully, you control the rhythm of the room. Observation before participation. Before controlling a room, you must understand it. Who seeks validation? Who fears rejection? Who dominates through noise? Who avoids eye contact? I watch patterns. Who laughs too hard at jokes? Who looks around before speaking? Who mimics the dominant personality? Every room has a hierarchy. Most people try to climb it loudly. I don't climb. I study. Once you understand the structure, you don't need to compete. You position yourself where influence naturally flows. That is silent strategy. Comfort with being misunderstood. This is important. If you need to be liked, you will never control the room because you will adjust yourself constantly. You will soften statements. You will fake reactions. You will agree unnecessarily. Control requires comfort. With discomfort, some people will think you're cold. Some will think you're distant. Some will think you're calculating. That's fine. Mystery creates psychological distance. Distance creates authority. When people can't fully access you, they subconsciously elevate you. Not because you demand it, but because uncertainty increases perceived value. Slow down your presence. Rushed movements show rushed thinking. I slow everything slightly. My walk, my gestures, my speech. Not unnaturally, just intentionally. When you move slower than the room, it feels like you operate on a different frequency. Others react. You respond. There's a difference. Reaction is impulse. Response is choice. The one who chooses leads. Control energy, not people. You cannot directly control people, but you can control energy. If someone enters aggressively and you remain calm, their intensity has nowhere to land. If someone tries to provoke tension and you maintain neutrality, their strategy collapses. Energy needs resistance to grow. Remove resistance, and it dissolves. I don't fight for dominance. I remove the need to compete. And strangely, that's when control naturally forms. Timing creates psychological impact. The goal isn't to stay silent forever. The goal is timing. When the room is chaotic, I wait. When opinions clash, I wait. When emotions peak, I wait. Then, when attention begins to fragment, I speak. One calm sentence. Clear, direct, final. Because I didn't waste words earlier, the room listens. Because I didn't compete earlier, the room respects the interruption. Silence builds anticipation. Timing delivers impact. Master yourself first. None of this works if you cannot control yourself. If your ego flares easily, if criticism shakes you too much, the room reflects your inner state. If you are chaotic inside, you will seek noise outside. I trained myself to sit with discomfort, to accept awkward silence, to tolerate being underestimated. Underestimation is useful. It lowers defenses. And when people lower defenses, they reveal weaknesses. Self-control is not suppression. It's discipline, and discipline creates psychological advantage. You don't need to announce power. You don't need to intimidate. You don't need to perform dominance. Walk in, stand steady, observe, speak when necessary, mean every word, react to nothing impulsively. And slowly, without effort, the room will adjust to you, because humans naturally look for stability. And when you become the most stable presence in any environment, you become the axis around which others rotate. Control the room without saying a word. Not through force, not through fear, but through mastery of yourself. That is real dominance. That is quiet authority. That is strategy. And if you can master this, you won't need attention, because attention will find you.
Early this morning, when you knocked upon my door,